Vital, now in a brand new pack.
Now, today is not only the first of the month, but it's actually more importantly Multiple Sclerosis Month, or actually the beginning thereof, an initiative that was started by the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in order to bring awareness around this autoimmune disease. And Andrea du Plessis is here to give us a bit more information so that we understand what it's all about. So I think the question to ask first, Andrea, is what is multiple sclerosis?
Well, multiple sclerosis is a disease that affects your nervous system, and they say it affects between 1 and 150 out of 100,000 people.
Wow.
So it's not that common.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the exact cause isn't known. They say sometimes genetics may play a role or previous infections. But what happens with multiple sclerosis is damage to the nervous system. Now, if you look at your nerve cells and your spinal cord, there's fatty tissue around the nerve cells that protects it.
Yeah.
And with multiple sclerosis, your immune cells actually break down the protective fatty layer, and that damages your nervous system.
Wow. So, I mean, looking at that, saying that the causes aren't known as yet, because it could be genetic, it could be something else. Who's at risk? How do you determine whether you are at risk for this?
It's very difficult for them to tell, and in most cases, it sort of starts in young adulthood. So there's quite a bit of research that they're still trying to figure out exactly how we can reduce the risk and identify risk factors. But with the management, I think it's important to look at the nutritional side of things, because it is a debilitating disease. If you look at the damage to the spinal cord and to the nerve cells, it results in physical and cognitive disability and/or, you know, depends from one person to the other, and there are various forms of multiple sclerosis. But what they all have in common is it's an inflammatory disease and it damages the nerve cells. So looking at nutrition, there is something supportive that can be done. It won't cure it, it won't manage the symptoms, but some nutritional support can help.
So if it is supportive in that way, are we saying that doing these things or taking these things could possibly help as a preventative kind of measure?
I wouldn't say preventative. There isn't any evidence of that necessarily, but to sort of slow down the progression of it, they have done some studies. I know at various university hospital sort of research facilities, there are some research studies, and particularly looking at the effects of omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes.
Because as we know, those are the healthy fats that are built into our nerve cells. So there's benefit in optimizing dietary intake of these omegas, and I think we've spoken about this
so much about them.
so it's just highlighting that omega-3 supplementation in cases of multiple sclerosis can really help support the nerve cells. So one can take salmon oil capsules or omega-3 products.
So these are in the new packaging.
Yes, that's a new
salmon
packaging.
Salmon oil,
yes.
Okay.
And it's also good to look out for the safety testing, especially if you're taking supplements, because it's a concentrated form, to rule out any risk of mercury poisoning, to look out for the label that says pharmaceutical quality, heavy metal and pesticide tested. That's always important. And then obviously salmon, rich in omega-3s, and we also get omega-3 in flax seeds, nuts and seeds. Sorry, I forgot about that fish. There's some tin sardines there as well.
Is that okay for you? That's good for you.
Definitely.
Because I tend to think because it's in a tin and it's got these preservatives, it's like, oh, don't do that.
You'll be surprised. There's very few preservatives because it's cooked and preserved in the oil. So the fish inside is actually the healthy component. And they say be careful not to eat tinned fish too often. And I think one of the risk factors there is if the fish that's in the tin lives in polluted waters, it may have mercury that accumulates through environmental toxins, etc. And I think that's where people want to take it safe if they want high doses of omegas, to take it in supplement form, provided that it's tested safe from those heavy metals.
Wow, I think a really, really important subject to have a good understanding on. I mean, especially when it comes to supporting a possible friend or a family member who might, you know, contract this, because like you said, it's not something that you have control over.
And it hugely affects your quality of life with a physical degeneration and what's the word? degeneration of yes.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't function properly and work.
Wow.
So a lot of care goes into maintaining a person's health.
Yes.
So yes, obviously nutrition plays a role, and there's some good research showing that it can play a supportive role.
Lovely.
So I think the nuts and seeds, we also wanted to mention the flax seeds, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and so too walnuts.
Thank you very much, Andrea. As always, really appreciate it. So I think the rule of the day is, as she just said, omega-3, omega-3, and even more omega-3. Of course, any other questions you may have, you're welcome to ask Andrea on her Facebook page, Andrea du Plessis, Vital Expert.
Vital, now in a brand new pack.
Stay with Espresso and SABC3.